right, you're listening to Apostates on the Fringe. We're sponsored by Atheist Society of Knoxville, and we're a podcast where we talk about politics and shit.
Some leftist shit, right?
Yeah.
We're your hosts. I'm Dustin.
I'm Alistair.
And we don't have Sam today.
Sam!
Where are you at? Sam, what are you drinking? Sam, what are you drinking? What are you drinking, bud? Sam's not here today. I unfortunately had a recent death in the family, and I had to travel to Indiana on our normal record day. So we're recording a day after. I know Sam's involved in some sort of film that he's working on for a
film fest.
Is it a film fest for October? For
October,
I think it's
like
a horror fest
or
some
some
shit.
thing.
Right on. So he's kind of tied up, so he can't join us. So this could be a kind of a special edition because there's some shit going on in Knox County that we did not want to miss this week, despite.
Yeah, you guys have been hearing me bitch. For weeks about the school board.
Before we get into that, I'm back to drinking. My hiatus is over.
Oh, right.
I have but I was driving from Indiana, and I didn't you wanted to work tonight, and I wanted to be here to record at the time you wanted, and to do so, I had to leave at a certain time, and so I couldn't stop anywhere fancy to get a good beer, so I stopped to get some waters and some Cokes for the weekend, and at the local Walmart in Clinton. And they had a shit selection. It was, again, all IPAs. Sometimes they'll have at least some Gotta Get Up or something fucking nothing. So, but I did find something I had before. It's the Bear Walker. It's an ale brewed with maple syrup. It's not bad. It's actually, I'm glad to have a beer again while we're recording and not some boring-ass water. But I did have to leave for a funeral. And the service was yesterday, and oh my fucking God. Now, my family doesn't listen, so I can bitch about this. It was super fucking Jesus-y.
Sure.
Oh, extreme Jesus-y. And it was cringe to a level because she told this weird fucking Lazarus story that made Jesus to be out like a dick. And it really got me thinking, how much of a crutch, why religion is used because people can't handle the fucking aspect of death. The whole point of that fucking service was that he's not really gone, you'll see him again because I think, so religion serves two purposes: to control women, obviously, keep men in power, but then to offer this explanation or this a second life because we can't handle not existing.
So I was thinking about religion and death earlier today, and I don't even fucking know why, but it got me wondering, do they think when we die and go to heaven, what form do we take? Do we take our prime years, or is it the moment you die? That's what you looked at like. And if that's the case,
no, she said she put an age on it. I swear to God, the pastor put an age on it that he was going to be 33 years old during the service. I don't know where this number came from out of her ass.
I just wonder. So what about the aborted babies though? How do their family members recognize them? Do they go, or is it their 33-year-old form? Because how would anybody recognize them at that?
That's a good point.
Or do they show up as just dismembered body parts?
But not only that, so not only is their physical form, but then it's also who they are as a person, because according to their belief, all the pain is taken away, all the sadness, but that's fucking what makes you who you are. That's what guided your life and made the decisions you made and who you are as a person. That you are not you for eternity and in whatever form they decide. I don't know. They don't have an answer. I guarantee it.
Well, of course they don't.
But it was super cringy because the whole service was essentially, we will see him again. I'm like, you guys just understand that the worst part is that when you have that kind of subset of beliefs is that if this life is just a stepping stone, a minor stepping stone to a life of infinite and eternal life, I don't understand, it loses value, I think. It makes this life lose value to those people.
Right. I mean,
But that's why they can't. Why suicide becomes a sin, because they don't want people they didn't want slaves killing themselves to go into heaven because
where things are peaceful and they don't have to suffer. And you have to suffer here before you get this great eternity there.
And the worst part is that this man unfortunately did suffer the last few weeks until they finally, apparently someone dug out his will and he's like, yeah, just let me die. And so they kind of took him off everything. I did not know this. I thought because Indiana is one of the states, there's only a select few, maybe 6 or 7 states that have assisted end of life, which I'm a huge supporter of, especially when people are in that kind of situation. But Unfortunately, he did kind of suffer the last few weeks until they finally took away everything because it was his will to just let him pass and move on. But the real religious aspect kicked in and was like really super cringy, where they made the whole thing that, again, this is just a temporary existence to eternal life if you because Jesus will resurrect you, and it was super cringy. But I'm back now. It was not a bad drive back through Indiana. Not a whole lot going on. But before we get to our main story, fucking last night the news dropped that Alex Jones. What a fucking... I hate Alex Jones. Like, I can't stand the man. Like, just to even hear his voice. I mean, he constantly nerd rages. Now, I know he's been kind of deplatformed almost everything except for his own kind of site, I think.
Yeah.
Right, he's off Twitter. He's off Facebook. He's off of YouTube.
But it doesn't stop them.
It hasn't stopped. It's InfoWars is the only thing, but it hasn't stopped apparently his flow of money or whatever the case because he's still fucking going.
No, it has.
I'm sure it took a chunk out of it and fucking good.
No, I mean between his child support that he has to pay because
who let Alex Jones fuck them?
Someone did, but she fucking took him for a lot. It's not going to cost that much to keep InfoWars up, but he has to be fucking hurting financially. I mean, he's getting a lot of money coming in, but Alex Jones doesn't have near as many supporters as he once did. A lot of people moved on.
Oh yeah,
from him and moved to bigger. And
because once you take him off of easily accessible platforms that people use on a daily, like they're, only a select few will purposely go to his website to view his content.
Like when I say bigger and better things, I don't mean actually better. They're moving on to fucking QAnon, and he's not like. He tried to push it to stay relevant. It's like when all the January 6th protests were going on, all the Stop the Steal stuff, he wasn't initially an organizer. He saw other people doing it, and he jumped on that. He's doing everything he can to stay relevant.
Well... He's relevant now because a judge has ruled against him in a case, in a lawsuit filed against him. It was a defamation case, I believe, because he was espousing some conspiracy fucking lie bullshit that the Sandy Hook shooting, which I think took the lives of 21-ish. I didn't put the news article.
At least 20 kids.
At least 20 kids, and said it was a fake, that it never happened, and it was crisis actors. And this is something he said in multiple videos and something like that.
And this has had, serious repercussions on the family where they've had
threats,
death threats.
Absolutely.
They've been harassed out in public. They've dealt with a lot of shit because of Alex Jones.
It was, I listened through his deposition, and he, unfortunately, he actually did really fucking well during his deposition, which I thought kind of made it tough on the case. But apparently, him and his lawyers fucked up and didn't provide enough discovery. I don't know.
This is like his third lawyer, I think. He's gone through quite a few.
But gladly, I'm so fucking happily the judge ruled against Alex Jones and InfoWars, and a jury will get to decide the monetary damages.
So, and this is like a unique situation because the judge did a default on him because he kept refusing to send in. He just wasn't complying with any. He had already been fined for not complying with the judge's orders and on a discovery.
Probably because any discovery he had was incriminating.
Right. And, so he just kept putting off doing any discovery. So this is other lawyers are like, this is like a myth we hear about in law school. Like, this doesn't actually happen. Nobody just refuses to comply for years. And that's what he did. That was his tactic, is to
just try to delay it as long as possible and just hopefully something
and a lot
happens.
A lot of the reason they'll do that is hoping to make the other person run out of money. So they can no longer keep the lawsuit going.
That's a good point, especially if you have a larger bank account and can afford the lawyers you have on retainer. Whereas, I'm almost certain, I would probably be almost certain that the attorneys representing the families that were filing suit probably were pro bono or on a contingency basis. I'm not sure, but because it was a pretty high profile case.
They probably know if they keep it going long enough, they're going to get a big payout.
Well, they stuck it out, and good for fucking them. Fuck Alex Jones and fuck InfoWars. I mean, how fucking awful is to see this horrific event. I mean, this is during a period where the United States was going through several fucking mass school shootings,
right?
And to say it because Alex Jones always peddled this theory that it was a fake news
flag.
narrative, false flag operation because they want to have introduced gun control laws after these events that he peddles all the time. But just think about, you're a parent that lost your child in the Sandy Hook shootings, and to hear a semi-prominent, at the time he was still on YouTube, Facebook at the time, just saying that event was a lie, that there were crisis actors, that no children were injured.
Well,
And calling those parents liars.
Imagine being those parents, though. You already lost your young child to a school shooting, your elementary age child, to a school shooting. And then you start getting hate mail saying that your child never died, and you're faking it. And then you get death threats.
It's
and then
fucking
you
disgusting.
Get harassed on the street. You already lost your child.
Talk about kicking someone while they're down.
All that, like it's. I feel bad for those families. I can't even imagine.
It's sad, but it's also infuriating that he profited off of that, because there were people who jumped onto that, who latched onto that. The people who were the Obamas coming to take our guns people.
And so, like, he's come out and said that Sandy Hook did happen. It was not a false flag, but the damage is done.
His lawyers made him do it.
Yeah, but and the damage is done.
Right.
The damage is fucking done. They're still being harassed over it.
Well, I'm sure, and this ruling unfortunately won't, prevent those, constant threats or anything they're receiving in the mail. But at least they'll have monetary. I'm assuming a large monetary compensation. I'll be keeping an eye on what the jury decides going forward. I hope it cripples. I hope it fucking cripples. But not only him, but Infowars. I think Infowars was also named as a party to the suit, and not just Alex Jones, because Infowars would have been a limited liability company, so you want to sue them as well, I think, as a party to the suit, and not just Alex Jones for monetary damages. So I hope they sue them. I hope they get the most sympathetic fucking parent jury ever, and they just take him for everything he's fucking got.
I mean, I think it'd be hard to get a jury, because if they're going to be looking for a jury, they're going to make sure the jury is rational and of sound mind, which means it's not going to be one of Alex Jones' followers. So, like, and anybody else, like, how can you not be sympathetic to that?
Right.
Like.
So, you know what? I'm looking forward to the outcome of that, because seriously, fuck Alex Jones. There's not a single video I've ever seen him in that just never wanted to just like strangle the man through the screen, because he's just such an infuriating individual with the shit he espouses.
The gay frogs.
The gay frogs was actually kind of funny though, but I mean, like there's actually some humor in his lunacy.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's so far out there. It is humorous until you really think about the fact that people believe this shit.
Yeah, and his words have consequences.
Yes.
Consequences for the things he says. Like,
I don't think he believes it. But people believe it.
I got you. Well, Al, I appreciate the shirt you're wearing for today's main topic. Your shirt is the one you wore at the school board meeting when they were first. It was a special session that was called that day for a mask mandate.
And then I've worn it to 2 school board meetings.
Well, we're recording late. Again, we're recording on Friday. We normally record on Thursdays, but we recorded last Thursday, and the very next day, Judge Greer. Now, Judge Greer is a federal judge.
Yes.
In Tennessee.
So he's the East District judge, and what he ordered is that Knox County has to enforce the same mask mandate that they had in the 2021 school year, and they
They removed the executive order from Bill Lee. They denied Bill Lee's executive order, which made the mask mandate optional. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And
so the only exceptions that are allowed now are kids with autism or tracheotomy.
Okay.
So those are the only exceptions, which now I will say that I do think there should be more exemptions. And that's one thing that the school board, there's a lot that has happened since then. Let's
just go in order. Let's just break it down. So that happened Friday.
So initially, Friday.
That happened Friday, and what day was that? That was the 20...
I have no fucking clue.
Whatever last Friday was.
It happened Friday. Immediately, the anti-maskers started a group called Knoxville Parent Against Mandates.
Okay.
They all started planning protests. They were livid. One of my, I have so many favorite comments from this group. I've been watching it like nonstop, glued to it, except Saturday. We went out on a boat Saturday, and so I took a break then. Well, until I got back home, and then I was right back on it. One thing is they were starting conspiracies on that that the lawyers went to Greenville to find a judge who would be friendly with them.
Now, let's pause there so we can fill in our viewers who may not be aware of why Judge Greer issued this order. So apparently it was brought on by a lawsuit by 3 disabled.
Yeah, I think we've talked about that before. This
order is a result of that lawsuit.
It was 4 families with disabilities who said that by not having any kind of mask mandate in the school, they were denying their children equal access to the school building and violating the ADA and 501 or 504.
So Judge Greer's decision was solely based on these lawsuits.
Just like strictly the access to the building, and so I did read all this.
Which is why it's Knox County only, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so
and
proceed.
I did read all these court documents, and they tried to say that virtual learning was a reasonable accommodation for them, and they said no, it's not. They're supposed to actually be integrated in with the students. You know, that's what all the ADA Act is, and if they're doing virtual learning, they're not integrated in.
Right.
The school's also trying to fight that now. There have been other things filed.
Now, didn't Judge Greer also kind of like shit on the school board's reasoning or rationality for the way they're reporting certain things?
Yeah, they actually. So KCS has this dashboard that we've been saying these numbers don't make sense. So they redid it and started including the students that they know have COVID but haven't been confirmed by the health department, and we're still calling bullshit on the numbers. So Judge Greer, he looked over like 3 different sets of numbers: Knox County's health departments, the schools, and then somewhere else. And he's like, all of these have different numbers, but I have reason to doubt yours. Like yours do not in any way match up to these. And he called bullshit.
Oh yeah,
on the KCS dashboard. He's like, there's no way these numbers are right. Absolutely, no way.
It was like a 40-page ruling or something like that, was it not? Or
52.
52-page ruling.
52.
Okay.
52 or 56.
Which is not entirely that lengthy, to be honest with you, but he hit on several. He made sure to shit all over.
Well, it went into the background. It went into what the ADA says. It was a very thorough. It was one of the best reads I've had in a while. Honestly, I really enjoy reading that. I enjoyed the judge's opinions on him because he's right, but.
So how did the parents respond?
Yeah, so they're throwing a fit. They're saying that the families went to Greenville to seek out this judge, that they had to go way out there. So Greenville, like I said, it's the East District federal judge in Tennessee. We only have 3 federal courts in Tennessee. We have the West District, Middle District, and East District. They filed a federal lawsuit, so they had to go to Greenville. There's no judge they could have seen here in Knoxville. These people don't get this. They've been they've talked for a week now about going to Greenville and protesting outside the courthouse. None of them are doing that. They've instead decided to harass the fucking schools, the school board. I love this.
Now, is that why the schools closed on Monday?
They had to prepare for,
because the decision to close came late on Sunday. It was like at 6
p.m. I heard from a staff member at my child's school that they had already planned on canceling schools. They just hadn't announced it. A lot of people think it's because they had a little protest on Sunday, or a little rally where they talked about blocking the entrances and stuff, and everybody in the group's like, we're not like that, we're not gonna do that, and they do stuff like that, we don't do stuff like that. Well, yeah, so they cancel school to so we used to have plexiglass in between desk, because in elementary school a lot they have tables that have 4 seats at them, so they separated those with plexiglass. They had to, some schools they needed isolation rooms. Because the school Sunday also announced that, we're enforcing that this is going to be the process. The first incident, you get a verbal warning. Second incident, a verbal warning. Third incident, you get an isolation.
These are kids that arrive without masks.
Yes.
Okay. Now, they're also counted absent, are they not, when they're sent to the isolation rooms?
No, they're counted. Well, they're counted present for the day in the school, but all of their classes they're counted absent.
Oh, okay.
So this is what it is if you like by your third warning, the fourth warning is you're already in isolation. But your parents are called and they can pick you up. So first thing the parents said is we're refusing to pick our kids up. Some parents kept their kids home from school. What it is it's called I don't know. It's RTL Recovery or RLC Recovery Learning Center.
Okay.
It's ISS.
Right.
In-school suspension.
I've been there
several times.
I've been there plenty. I got it plenty in middle school because I was the little kid, and so people picked on me, and I would fight back. And when you fight back, you both end up in ISS.
Right. So,
Dicks.
yeah.
Because his order went into effect immediately.
Immediately.
Yeah, he signed the order Friday. By Monday, they had to implement
it. Was So they canceled school Monday to get these tables or the kids' desks all set up and shit.
With 4,000...
have meetings. They had to have meetings with all the teachers to tell them. They told the teachers, you'll get told once to put on a mask. The second time you're getting sent home. Teachers lost their jobs this week.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. One of them immediately, he just said he left and didn't come back. Several teachers left and just didn't come back. Some did.
I also heard that the bus drivers had contemplated suspending service because of how they really had no way to kind of enforce that. What are you going to do, kick students off the bus, moving bus?
And you do. You have a moving bus. If you have kids on there that are not wearing a mask, it is difficult for a bus driver to enforce it. And I think anybody could understand that. I don't think the bus drivers are going to get in too much. But if you're not blatantly saying you will not wear a mask, like this Patriot Poe woman has, I can't think of her name right now in the group. She's a bus driver, and she's like, I will not. She posted loud and proud in this group, she absolutely will not wear a mask on her bus. Well, she was told she was suspended without pay.
So one of the weird things, though, in what was new to me when I lived in Tennessee, or at least in this area, is I would drive by and I would see some weird company on the side of the buses. Because when I went to school in Texas and Indiana, on the side of the buses, it would say, it was NSISD, or Northside Independent School District. They were school district buses. This is the first I'd ever seen. This is Knoxville, I wouldn't say is a small city, a small town. I think it's strange.
It's a small city. It's just not. I mean, it's a small city. It's not a small town.
It's not something. It's pretty populated, and to have a school, schools that have to contract out to other companies, like the bus drivers, I think, and not be run by the school themselves, was a strange concept to me. Which is why I guess they were, were they part of that order? Was the school buses being contracted out part of that order?
They kind of fall under it, but I think it's still harder for even the judge probably to enforce it.
Right.
But the school district can say who drives
their
kids
absolutely
or
can.
not.
Correct.
So that's what happened. This woman who was told to park her bus, it came from the school district saying this woman can't work around our kids. And she's gonna try to file a lawsuit. But yeah, so the kids get an ISS. I've seen...
Real quick. There are approximately, at this time, 4,200 members in this, Parents Against Knox County Mandates, all planning mass protest on the first day they open, which is Tuesday. How many showed up?
Oh, there were only 2,000 in the group at that time.
Oh, there were only 2,000
The
at the
other
time?
2,000, I'm pretty sure, are people who joined the group because it was going private. Up until Monday night. Up until Monday night, it was a public group. They didn't create it as a private group, so they had a 3-day holding day before they can switch it to private. So those 3 days, everybody was watching without joining the group. And then they realized, they announced that the group was going private at 12:15 that night. So Sunday night, there's this huge influx of members, and I guarantee you,
I'm raising my hand because I joined myself.
I'm one of them. A large amount of people joined that night because they wanted to keep watching.
Because there was some insane shit.
Insane. I've seen people talking about overthrowing the government in there.
Explain something to me. I know you had a point earlier, but I really want to know, why is this big push, and why they're so upset that the schools got millions of aid during the pandemic, and why their primary goal is to keep kids out to cut the budget.
We've known about this money for a while. It was listed in the lawsuit. We've been talking about this because that $114 million, it's part of the relief packages that like all schools got.
Right. Because
COVID relief, it's to help with virtual learning, getting them established there, for cleaning materials in the school. Like it's all the schools got it.
If in a society where we put a lot of emphasis on schools and paying teachers more, why is it their goal to fucking lower the budgets of the schools? I've seen it time and time again, and that's new to me. I've never seen a collective bunch who are actively trying to unenroll kids to homeschool just to reduce the budget. I've seen it where they say it out loud. That's their goal.
They're taking their ball and going home. They aren't getting what they want at the school, so they don't want anybody else to get anything out of it either. These are spoiled, rotten little brats. That's what they are. They're spoiled, rotten fucking brats. And they're throwing temper tantrums. They're like, some of the shit I've seen is downright abusive.
I was going to say it is fucking abuse to the children.
One of the worst videos I saw. This is by far the worst video I saw. A little boy who's probably about 6 or 7, I'm guessing. You can tell it's a Tuesday morning, early in the morning. The parents have known about the isolation rooms, ISS. They refuse to look at it as ISS, though. They say their kids are not being punished. They're being segregated because for their opinion. They keep using the word segregated. I've seen the words Rosa Parks, Ruby Bridges, and the Holocaust so many fucking times in there.
Jesus Christ.
So they're over the weekend, when they hear about these isolation rooms, they start talking about them as if they're prison cells, and that they're going to be in there alone. And they're taking
their phones away from the students too.
Because some of them are.
Okay.
They are not being consistent, which is an issue that many of us have been bringing up to the school board. Like, you can't have one school allowing this and another school allowing this. This is causing problems. You need to get your fucking staff all together. But they're talking about these isolation rooms like they're prisons, like it's solitary confinement, and talking about how abused their kids are going to be in there. So this video of this little boy, you can tell the mom has talked to him about these isolation rooms. And she has probably built it up on how horrible this experience is going to be. So he's crying as he goes in the school. And he's like, I want to see my friends. And he's like, I don't want to wear a mask. He's like, I want to see my friends. And, he's saying he doesn't want to wear his mask because that's what his mom wants him to say. She's convinced him that these masks are wrong. And she's like, well, if you don't want to wear your mask, you have to go in the isolation room. He's like, I don't want to. She's like, well, why don't you just go look at it and see who's there? And he's like, will you come with me? And she's like, they won't let me, honey, because I won't wear a mask. So she's like, just go check it out, and if you don't like it, I'll come back and pick it up. He's like, you're leaving? This boy is like really distraught over all of this, and it could have been solved with, honey, you just put on your mask. It's okay. Just put on your mask. It's not going to hurt you. You'll be able to breathe. Go see your friends today.
You and I personally know someone with two small girls, and every time we see them come into in a public setting, these two small young girls are always wearing masks.
So, and we were talking about that because there was another video of a kid who was 4 who was crying because she didn't want to wear a mask. And, we were talking about, like, you can get kids through this at a young age. Our friend said that she started putting masks on the girls at home for like 30 minutes before they went out, just so they could kind of get used to it a little bit. She's like, my youngest has sensory issues. You know how many masks I had to go through to find one that, doesn't bother her? There are steps you can take to help these kids adjust to the mask.
All it takes is effort on your part and not being a little whiny shithead that just wants to be a patriot because you're wanting to, not be part of the system because you're such against mandates, because you're such a fucking idiot that you don't understand that the masks are not there to protect your child, but to protect the other children that your child come into contact with. And these people, I know we bitched about that before. They still don't understand the point of masks.
No, and they're screaming about these 4 families. It's gotten so bad because they're like, how do these 4 families get to speak for 60,000 families? And it's all because of these 4 families. These motherfuckers, they have started going through yearbooks to look for kids that look disabled, to try to match them up with the initials in the fucking lawsuit. They're trying to dox
holy shit,
disabled children and their fucking families. No fucking shit.
Wow.
Like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? Like, these families don't have enough to fucking deal with. You're trying to fucking dox them? Like,
well, and the group itself is also worried about doxing. They're constantly trying to dox people in that group.
Yeah, they're trying to. I mean, but like.
The funny part, I like how they were ferociously vetting. That was one of the posts by one of the admins. We are ferociously vetting because we have people who are trying to, screenshot our posts, and because it's been on Reddit. I know you've shared quite a bit. We shared because it is the most batshit insane things. I mean, Knox County parents, the anti-maskers, have lost their collective shit over this.
Yeah,
and you sent me a screen grab of one.
That's what I'm going to grab.
Go
right
for that.
now.
I haven't pulled up just in case, but you shared one of the best comments and I say best, the most batshit insane thing I'd ever seen, and I go for it.
It just set it up. I thought this woman was one of us, and she was just trying to lure them out. Yeah, I thought it was a Poe. If you don't know what Poe's law or a Poe is, it's Poe's law. It's pretty much saying you can get to a level of sarcasm where it's hard to tell if you're being serious or like
it's indiscernible from whether someone's being serious or not because of the level it's at, and so. It's hard to tell in some instances, but this one I truly believe is batshit insane.
I thought the original post was a Poe trying to get them to come out with their batshit crazy theories, but I looked her up in the group and no, she's one of them.
Oh God!
But so the original post was something like, "What do you think they're trying to do with all this?" And with the vaccine, she's like, "I'm not going to say zombies, but some kind of DNA modification."
This group is very busy. There's over close to 300.
It's slowing down so much.
There was at one point there were over 200 or 300 posts per day, not including the hundreds of comments within them. Like, it's a very, very busy group for just a small population.
As of today, I would take an hour or 2 break and go back, and there was nothing new. It's slowing down so drastically. But Mary Lou Wells responds to this comment. She's like, they are setting up to force vaccinations with the RNA DNA altering recombinant vaccine. Biden stated that he would see to it that all of us were made so uncomfortable that we would give in and get this shot. But they want people to get it quickly enough so we accept it before the dangerous 6-month mark, at which point the side effects of the vaccine shows up. All of the animals in the pre-trials died of the vaccine after it began to wane at about 6 months. COVID is a fear campaign and biological weapon. The mask is to break the public's will. Why us? We are the ground zero to see if they can get away with it. Does that adequately explain it? This is all information that has come from NIH doctors and also virologists. Fauci was embroiled in the HIV scandals in the 80s with a lot of gay men saying all the deaths were due to his experiments. I'm really praying people wake up and have the strength to say no, but the media propaganda campaign is working. I supported President Trump, but I do not understand why he gave Dr. Death a platform of this magnitude.
Now, so 6 months is a dangerous mark. So have we been hearing about the 70 to 80 million people that have died since getting the shot in January and February? I mean, I died. Obviously, I got mine in March. So
I'm
March
probably
15th.
Dying next week.
Are you dying? Well, I will say some pretty Jesus-y shit at your funeral. Yeah, that is batshit insane. Absolute batshit insane. This person also forgets that Trump took the vaccine as well.
Right.
Fucking idiots. But this is they're not going to. Although, to be fair, didn't Newsom say something about requiring vaccines for certain students?
Yes, he is going to, as soon as the vaccine is approved, the California schools will be mandating vaccines.
Yeah, so Pfizer's pretty close to that. Is it 5 to up,
12.
5 on up?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I mean, I kind of hope, it fucking needs to happen because these people we can't trust. And this mandate proves that we can't trust parents or the population to do the right fucking thing.
Right. To
not only care for themselves, but also the other members of society that they're around. I mean, mask is a basic thing to protect the people around you, and they've been against it from the beginning. And to fucking force their kids to espouse their own views and the irony of some of the things they say in this, you shared a link that they shared this mass psychosis thing.
Right. Like the one that we watched, and it describes them, but they think it describes us. Like it's so they have been, we're screaming all weekend long that this is 70-80% of the school is on their side. There's going to be thousands that show up Tuesday without mask. 700.
It was
700 across 61 schools. 700.
There were so many posts who were congratulating and encouraging, that so proud that their child was the only one to stand up against this tyrannical mask mandate and calling their child a hero. And then, of course, everyone chimes in, so proud of your little girl. Like, you're a fucking idiot.
But I did see, one post where someone's like, great results today. We're seeing so many. And I looked at the comments and someone's like, where are you looking? My school had one kid. But there are. So it's Farragut schools. Mm-hmm. Farragut High School, Farragut Middle, and
Intermediate.
Yeah, intermediate. They have a Farragut primary, like their elementary is split up, 2 different schools. And then Carnes is another area where
that's what. So Farragut I get, because Farragut is tries to be upper class area of Knoxville,
but those are the poor white entitled people. Like the Carnes
really?
area is going to be like, Farragut is the
Farragut. I understand because
privileged,
uppity white neighborhoods, predominantly probably 90+% white in the area.
But Carnes area has a lot of that too.
Yeah, that's why. So when you mentioned Carnes, that kind of threw me off, because Farragut I understood. Farragut I clearly understood, but Carnes. Like I'm in the Carnes area. I dropped a child off to that school. I've been through the area. It's not a rich area, so but it is still predominantly white. Of course, that's all.
But they're like, you can go in the Carnes area, and there is wealthy there. There's a lot of wealthy,
especially on Emory. Oh yeah, the Emory Road area. There are some nice houses in the area. You're right. You're very right.
So they're more diverse as far as income level than Farragut, but they're still there, a large number.
So those 2 schools had the most,
but
still a low population. Still,
Hall's High School but Hall's, I don't think the Hall's principal is as tolerant. So most of the bullshit that has happened has been at Carnes and Farragut. And Farragut has been the worst. Every morning they've had a group of people protesting. The school, like the fucking Knox County police, refused to do anything about these parents loitering around the school while dropping their kids off to harass other students at the entrances. They have blocked the doors. They have made kids uncomfortable walking into all 3 schools, the intermediate, middle, and high school. And the Knox County Police is just like, we aren't doing anything. And kids, some of these kids are fucking scared to walk into their school with this bullshit.
Oh, I imagine
and
so.
They're just getting away with it. They're getting away with it. But there's still...
It's also kind of be creating some of a hostile environment with the kids inside too, who are the anti-maskers. But those are all still being isolated, are they not? Even in those,
they are. They're going to ISS, so they're just staying with each other. They don't get to see their other. They don't get to eat lunch with them. The younger kids don't get to go out to recess with their classmates. They do get recess with it because there's state law. You can't take recess away as a punishment now. So they still get to go out with recess with the ISS kids.
God, where was that when I was a kid, man? They just take recess away all the fucking time as punishment.
I mean, I'm pretty sure this is just within the last month or so. It's recent that I saw that Tennessee put in that recess cannot be taken
Now,
away.
I from what I saw during the group posting was that today, this is, of course, we're recording on Friday. This is
Freedom
a week after.
Friday.
Freedom Friday. They're supposed to take all their kids out of school or keep them absent.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen the numbers yet for today, but
It probably won't be posted until tomorrow, obviously.
Well, it'll be tonight, probably.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah, we've been getting the attendance numbers every day in the evening. So the first day, so I told you Monday, only 700 kids showed up without a mask.
Right.
The attendance was at 90%.
It was over 90%, yeah.
So one comment I saw from them was that was more than their little measly little event that they had, because we had a sick out. Attendance on the day of our sick out was 80%.
It was. There was. I thought it was more than because it was 1 in 5. Yeah, 20%. 1 in 5, which is 20%, were absent.
Yeah, 80% in attendance. There's only 90% were in attendance. They're trying to claim all 10. Like, we knew when we did our sick out that all 20% were not because
probably
of
13% was probably due to that.
Probably less than that. I bet because of the sick out, it was probably 5% of those that were out sick. The rest were probably COVID or quarantine. This 90%, that 10% are kids that are sick, quarantine. They're trying to claim all. They're like 10% of the kids stood up and stayed home. No. That was probably less than 1% of them.
Well, especially when you consider how very few showed up, not wearing masks, despite thinking that they had, because and especially in this group, what I see a lot is that all the teachers are on our side.
Yeah, they think the entire school staffs are on their side. Now, I actually have friends that work at a lot of these schools. A lot of them will not claim me on social media. But
whenever you're not in jail, Facebook jail, you mean, but whatever. Well, congrats on being out of Facebook jail on both accounts.
6 days.
Good for you. That's new. That's almost a new record for you.
I think 9 or 8.
It's because you're staying out of hip Nashville.
It's because I haven't. I mean, I've only made like 3 posts since I've gotten mine back, and they've all 2 of them were just sharing screenshots from their group. I've been on my alt account, spying on their refreshing constantly their group to see. It's been so fucking ridiculous. It's. I laugh at them, and I rage at them too.
Because it's dangerous not only to the other students who are trying to arrive to school and just have a normal day at school, but again the mental abuse that they're instilling upon their own children to have them fight for their ideas, their stances, when the kids have no fucking clue or probably even care. They just want to go to school, not get in trouble, and be with their friends. Now, one of the things I have seen is that they're losing this fucking fight. Their kids are, telling them, I don't want to be in trouble. I want to be with my friends. Their kids are starting to fight back.
Yes,
and push back against their parents. And they're, and one even was like, well, if you're wearing a mask, I'm going to put this not my choice, fuck mandates or whatever, something on their stupid mask.
But you're still wearing a mask.
I don't care what's on your fucking mask. You're complying with the mandate and protecting the other students that are around your child.
Here's one thing. I found this on Reddit. Because Reddit has been having fun with this group as well. Lots been posted
it's one of the best things that happened this last week, to be honest with you. I mean, not really the best things, but in terms of the entertainment from the lunacy. But go ahead.
I mean, there's concern there, but my next door neighbors are part of this group. We're talking about the Knoxville Parents Against Mandates. Our chicken coops back up to each other, and Tuesday morning I was outside cleaning mine when I heard the father and son arguing. The son, middle school age, was crying and begging his father to let him go to school and play with his friends. He said, I don't care if I have to wear a stupid mask, Dad. His father then told him he wasn't going back to school as long as there was a mandate. It was heartbreaking and infuriating. One parent This is in one of their Telegram channels. You can tell this kid by looking at this journal thing they have. I'm going to guess is young elementary age, probably under 8.
Okay.
And they have a little drawing. The top of it says isolation room observation. So you know that the parent told them,
Draw what you see.
Make sure to take notes on what you see and tell us everything that happens in there.
God.
So the kid starts this little like journal entry type thing. And it's like there's a drawing.
Captain's log, day
There's
one,
a drawing
isolation room 1.
of them sitting at a
3
table.
of us are trapped in here. No escape to be found. The rebels have lost the battle. I'm sorry.
But the kid drew
So
a little picture of them sitting alone at the table with their Chromebook and their book
figures?
bag. Yes. Well, no, it's actually developmentally, it's a good drawing for kids.
Okay.
You can show like they've got full arms. They have feet. It's actually a good drawing for a young kid. But it says isolation rooms observation. Tables spread apart, 1 chair on each end in the gym. Teachers came and visited me. Not that many people. 1 table for teachers. Kind of like normal.
The horror, the atrocity, the horror that these children are facing in these terrible Holocaust era isolation rooms.
And the kids kind of like normal.
The parents like, no, you got to make it fucking sound worse than that. Come on, we're in a fight here with our fellow patriots. You got to do better.
The other fucked up thing I've seen in this group, so one parent decided to send pizzas to the kids in ISS.
Okay.
And
Can they do that first off?
Well, this particular school does allow kids to order DoorDash. The parent called the school to see if they'd allow it without telling the school that her kid was in ISS.
So I have a logistical question about that because, as I understand it, like pretty much once school's in sessions, the schools are pretty much locked down entrance-wise.
They are. There's like a locker thing outside this school that DoorDash can. Well, you know what? I deliver to fucking schools all the damn time. I don't know if they're going to kids or students or what.
So some teachers like thanks.
Yeah, I delivered to fucking DoorDash today, or to a school today.
Okay,
it was to their security
I
officer.
know that due to the constant mass shootings that happen in the United States, that's kind of the thing that happens as the school's locked down. So
yeah,
okay,
they locked down. So what did it like? There's an intercom system outside the school, so we just ring the doorbell. They come out and they pick it up. They can see us. We have food in our hands, you know.
Right. Okay, so someone orders pizza.
So they sent the pizza to the school, and at first the school decided that like they can't have this. The parents of this group started like mass calling the school, harassing them about the pizza, telling them to give the kids to the school. The school caved. The initial report from the parent was it was just a logistical issue because of, where the trash would go. They didn't have plates and napkins to give the kids. We got all that fixed and the kids got their pizza. Later in the night, it became... The kids weren't allowed the pizza because other kids were trying to take off their masks to go have a pizza party in ISS. Never happened. You know it never fucking happened. It never fucking happened. But so all of the comment section, though, is filled with parents being like, let's just send all the kids food every day. We can start a collection and then we can bribe. You're actually saying the words, we can bribe the other students to join us.
Just during the pizza time. I mean, because they're not wearing masks while I know they're allowed to eat their lunch without masks. Now, have you asked your kid, like, do they try to separate, students during mealtime to kind of prevent the spread of COVID during lunchtime?
My kid's high school, and so they have kind of an open campus at my kid's school is not like other schools in Knoxville. They really are. Well, there may be a couple other schools that are like this. The magnet schools, they push for independence for their kids. So they have an open campus. They let the kids eat outside. There are places around campus. Like, I think there's times my kid can go up to the Knoxville Museum of Art and stuff. Like, so our kids just eat outside. But the younger kids, though, they're eating at the same table and everything.
The reason I asked is because it kind of, the only good solid point that is made is that if they're keeping, close contact and in close proximity during a lunchtime, that kind of negates.
Except they're in ISS. They're receiving a punishment.
I meant the other students who are wearing masks throughout the day, but then get to take them off during their lunchtime. If they're still in close contact inside, in close proximity,
it does negate it. It
does negate it. So I kind of see the point.
But
I think the schools should attempt better solutions.
How do you do that with hundreds? I mean, my kid's tiny little school has 600 kids, and if it weren't for them being allowed to be outside, they'd be crammed in there too. My kid's school is one of the smallest schools in Knox.
So, but I guess you try to use the measures you can take where you can, and that's where the masks are throughout the rest of the day, because that's when it's to at least limit the majority of exposure, and only limit it to the time where they're required to take them off to eat. So I get it, but I didn't know if there was a system in place to help prevent the spread during that I
know a lot of schools have put more like picnic tables outside and stuff like that. So I think they're giving, especially the older kids, they're giving them the option of where they go. So at least the students that want to protect themselves can. Like my kid, a lot of times they either eat outside or eat in the library. They rarely eat with the other kid. They don't like their peers.
It's valid.
Fortunately, my kid's school, like, it's a science school. Like, so there's like 7 families that I've found in this crazy group out of all of my kids' school, and nothing happened, not a single incident. The school I delivered to today was in city limits. The only schools anything's happening at, are the county schools. The city schools, there ain't shit happening in those schools. It was Kristenberry, I think, elementary school that I stopped by today, and my delivery was to their fucking SRO. But I asked her, I was like, have you guys had any issues here with this week? She's like, no, thankfully.
Like I said before, those who started Tuesday and Wednesday with their kids being defiant heroes and defying this tyrannical mask mandate, again, they're losing that battle. Their kids are like, I want to be with my friends, and they'll continue to lose. This group will eventually die down. Right now, it's locked down.
It's already died. Yeah, they put it on. They put it on pause for the next. It's like 30 hours remaining.
Because of people like us.
Yeah, because they're trying to find all the people lurking and sharing screenshots. Thing is, like I said, that's probably about 2,000 people, and they have to go through 4.2 thousand people.
It will be hard for me because you screen capped my member list in there, and it has our podcast name as a co-host because you're using an older alternate account.
That's completely locked down. Friends only. I've changed I made sure my banner photo is actually of Ritual Cove, and I made my profile picture just blue.
So all it takes is a 30-second view is whatever I posted publicly to fucking understand that I'm not on their side. But we'll see if I survive their little crusade against the moles and the lurkers.
Maybe they won't find it until Sunday, and they'll get curious and be like, well, what's apostate on the fringe? And they'll listen to this episode. Please, I hope they hear this. Fucking pieces of shit.
It really is. It's completely... Fucking my real estate agent who I friended years after, she's fucking one of them, and some of the things that she's been posting, I'm like, bruh. And of course she's this, privileged upper class, white lady with blonde hair, total fucking Karen.
Yep.
And that's every one of these. I swear to God, they're all fucking white blondes.
They are. Oh my God, I drove by the protest yesterday. Because
all 7 people?
There were about 8. There were about 8 out there.
Such huge numbers.
The first time I drove by, I was playing fuck Donald Trump.
Nice.
There were some kids, so I turned that off. And because if they post the video, it's going to come out. There were a couple of kids. There were a couple of adults at the end. I thought it was like 3 women. So when I drove by the 3 women, I flipped them off. I did see one of the kids was probably a high schooler. I don't really feel too bad about it because a high schooler has seen worse and done worse. But so when I started driving back by there after that, I had pulled up crying baby sounds on YouTube, like a sound effect thing. And I started blasting that through my car while looking at them with rubbing my eyes, like fake rubbing, and doing fake crying at them. They're like, you're on camera. I'm like, I don't fucking care, man. Like, post it. Like, I'll share it for my friends to watch. Like
you're on camera mocking them, whereas you're standing out of the school crying about wearing a piece of cloth on about your child wearing a piece of cloth for the fucking safety and consideration of the fellow students, like, and they think you're the asshole,
right? I'm like, you guys are out here acting like cloth masks are gonna kill your kids. He's like, this isn't gonna look good for you. I was like, what you guys have been doing all week hasn't looked good for you. You guys have blocked the school entrances, kept kids from getting into school. What you are doing is not a good look for your cause. And the light turned.
And the majority of students are complying and probably just mocking the shit. Probably.
They are.
And those other poor students who are, being the heroes and not complying with this mask mandate, they're going to be fucking shunned potentially. Because fucking kids are fucking mean.
Yep.
Kids are mean and relentless. And I remember I was a short kid in middle school, and that's why I got in fights a lot, because kids are fucking mean. Mm-hmm. And this is only just put a fucking target on their backs.
Yes.
I think. And that's not only going to be hopefully not dangerous for them, but obviously detrimental to their societal health and because that's where you learn to interact with society, and that really kind of fucks with that ability when they put a big target on your back, because you're isolating. You're making especially if the child's like 6 or 7 or 8, maybe even 10 or 11. High schoolers, they can kind of make their own decisions, and it's probably their own. But if they're sub 12 years old, they're probably doing it because their parents are telling them, you're a hero for doing this. They're putting those ideas in their head, and they're putting targets on their kids' backs, and that's fucking
coercion
that's
to get
disgusting.
Their kids in there.
It's disgusting.
And then they're saying, like, thankful for these kids fighting this fight for us. They've actually said those words.
Oh, fuck you.
You are using your fucking kids as pawns.
Oh,
That's all they are. You are fucking abusing these kids in the process, because it's emotional abuse what they are doing to these kids. These 6-year-olds that have to go sit in isolation, not because they wanted to be wrong, they want to disobey rules. It's because their parents are telling them to.
Absolutely.
Their parents are putting them in isolation. And one day...
And calling them heroes for doing it.
And one day, these kids are going to see that. These kids are going to remember this experience. It's not going to pan out well for them. And think about it. If they're doing this now with their kids, what else are they fucking doing to these kids? If they are publicly posting their emotional abuse of their children in this group, what the fuck is going on behind closed doors?
Yeah.
This, it's actually been kind of triggering for me to be in these groups. These parents are my mom.
Oh, yeah.
These parents are my fucking mom. I'm looking through how they're talking about their kids, how they're treating their kids. You know what kind of relationship I have with my mom now?
Do you have a relationship with your mom right now?
None. Haven't spoken to her in a fucking decade, despite her reaching out to me every so often. No, because I recognize that bullshit that is in that group is emotional abuse.
Oh, it absolutely is.
And so I got my kid and the fuck away from her emotional abusive ass, and I bet some of their kids are going to do the same thing. Good job. You won't get to know your grandkids.
Yeah, it's really sad. We're going to continue to keep an eye on this, because we'll get the numbers here for whatever attempt that they made today. I'm assuming it'll be a devastatingly blow to them when they get the numbers out that they were not as effective as they thought what their Freedom Friday would be.
Nope.
And I continue to hope that their children continue to fight against them, and that all these efforts to because we've been doing this shit for over a year. We've been wearing masks every time we need to go to a public space, not outdoors, because we know that we're following the CDC guidelines, that this action, this minor act of putting a cloth over your face to negate some of the droplets that come out to protect those around us, because we live in a goddamn society, and it's not a problem for us, and they think they're fucking heroes. But I hope they continue to lose this battle. I hope the kids fight against them. I hope this movement dies. There will still be some who stick out, who will pull the kids out in defiance, but you know what? Fuck it. They're like you said, they're causing that rift between their children that will last for ages.
You know, half of these parents taking their kids out of school, that staff and those teachers are probably thankful. These are the nightmare fucking parents.
And they don't have the numbers that they have. I know their goal is to, break this system, defund these schools, kill their budget. I heard someone say because they want vouchers, but they don't have the numbers to pull this off. And all they're doing is just causing heartache, mental issues for their children. And, they're missing schoolwork. They're being isolated. And none of this is going to be fruitful or working towards them. Now, the school board issued this huge fucking list of medical exemptions that pretty much covers, anybody could qualify for. Anxiety was on the list.
Yeah. I mean,
this was a stupid list.
Number 5, I believe, was any medical condition.
Oh, was that what it was?
Yeah, any fucking medical condition.
This list was so inclusive. It's one of those people who are not getting vaccinated because of religious exemptions. Like, it's that kind of tier of, just latch onto anything to prevent wearing a mask.
The 4 families have responded to that. And they didn't even address the mask mandate going away. I don't think they said as far as medical exemptions, they do think that there should be should allow doctor notes, but those doctor notes should specify a condition that the doctor is currently treating that would prevent a mask being worn. So it was real specific because. A lot of these parents are going to get a note that says my kid has allergies. Even what the school board submitted or their lawyer submitted, it even said not every child with these conditions will be exempt from them. And that's how it was last year. And I like I said, I agree that they should open it up. It was a case by case basis. Every kid with autism doesn't need to go without a mask.
Correct.
In fact, most autistic kids in those schools are probably wearing their mask just fine.
Yeah.
Their parents aren't even seeking exemptions. My kid's autistic. They're wearing their mask, have the whole time.
Yeah.
Like it's never been an issue, so.
They're just trying to latch onto anything and everything they can to avoid this tyrannical mask mandate, because God forbid you protect the students around you. And it's not just the students, but the teachers that teach those students, the parents that those children go home to, their grandchildren, the grandparents those children go home to, because kids, by and large, there's Delta is obviously affecting the younger age and they're being hospitalized, but they're taking it to the elderly around them, the older parents, and affecting them, and that's why Knox County is in Tennessee is still probably, I haven't looked it up, but still again one of the most the highest cases per capita.
Our numbers are going down. Because we've lost a lot of people, and so many people have already gotten it. The numbers are declining, but that still doesn't mean we need to go without masks.
Right. I think I know the mayor wrestler, if Sam was here, Wrestle Mayor Glenn
He's
Jacobs,
a piece of shit,
was trying to put some sort of threshold is the word I'm looking for. A threshold that if cases get to X, then masks would not be required anymore. Then if it crosses that threshold again, I know that's something he submitted as well. All this still has to be approved.
He doesn't even have get to weigh in on
he doesn't,
this. He's not involved in this fucking lawsuit.
No, so I think it's something that he's just trying to have attorneys submit, because again, this is a federal ruling that even supersedes fucking cocksucker Bill Lee's executive order allowing parents to opt out of mask mandates.
Oh, they're trying to get our legislators to do a special session.
Oh, yeah.
To, I guess, they seem to think the state can somehow override the federal order. I don't know what they think a special session is going to do.
None of these people in this group know anything about law or anything like that. They're just grasping at straws at this point.
Bill Lee is talking about putting bans on more mandates, I believe.
Yeah, of course he is, because
he signed another executive order against vaccine mandates and mask mandates and everything else.
Because of course he did. Well, guys, that's going to wrap us up.
It's supposed to be a short episode. I don't think it was.
It was not a short episode. This was a kind of a special edition because we don't have Sam with us. So we are going to be wrapping up without an ACAB of the week because with the scheduling conflict. We did not want to miss the record to cover the situation with Knox County Schools, but this week is kind of an off week for us. We do not have an ACAB of the week, but Sam will be back next week, and we'll have a normal recording. But thank you guys again joining us this week for episode 34 of Apostates on the Fringe. As always, you can check us out on social media. If you would like links to the articles or to contact the show, visit us at apostatepod.com, and we'll see you all next week.
Knoxville's silent majority is less than 5% of the city.
Thank you all very much. Apostates on the Fringe. Apostates on the Fringe.
The views and opinions of the hosts of Apostates on the Fringe do not represent the views and opinions of the Atheist Society of Knoxville. For links to all our musical contributors, go to apostatepod.com and check the About Us page. A big thank you to Michael Scott Arden, who allows the show to use his full catalog.